Good morning. How are you, boys?
Fine.
Are you all fine?
Yes.
That's great. Today we are going to read a book, and today we are not only reading a book, but we have to write our expressions there. What we learned in this book. First, look at this picture. Can you all see it?
Yes, sir.
Now, what's your opinion about this picture? Can you predict the content of the lesson? What is in this lesson? Can you predict?
Yes.
Can you say something about this beautiful picture? For
Yes.
example,
Sir, this is King Akbar and he's having a wise man named Birbal, sir. So
Yes.
I believe that this story is about Birbal talking to Akbar and he was a wise man. He always talked to Akbar and Akbar learned something.
that's amazing. That's really great. You know this person?
Yes.
He is King Akbar, and he is a famous person. He is a great king, and you also know about his courtiers.
Yes.
That's amazing. Do you know who is King Akbar? Okay, in a while you will learn,
So-
right?
So Akbar is a Mughal king. He came in a subcontinent
He ruled over subcontinent for a very long time.
for 50 years.
For 50 years.
Yes.
You know about the facts?
Yes.
That's amazing, man. That's really great. Have you read the story before?
Yes.
You have read this story before?
Yes.
That's great. That's great. I always encourage you that you should read books and you should read the homework which is assigned to you. It's amazing. You have done a nice job. Okay. What do you think? What do you expect? What will be in the story? Can you predict what will be in the story? Now I give you pieces of paper. This is for you. This is for you, point. And you two. I divide you into two groups. This one is group A, and this one is group B. Right? First, you need to consult with one another. And after that, you have to write that what will be the lesson about. It means that you should write it. What will be in the lesson? So you have got 2 minute time. In this 2 minute time, you should write, and then one of you from each group will come to the front of the class, and he will describe.
I think that in this story there is a king and he's having a discussion with courtiers. One of his courtiers is named is Birbal, wise man, sir. And I think that the courtiers of the king are in this debate that they're having with the king.
Right, it's really good. You really wrote some nice words, and you predicted the content of the lesson in a very good way. Why? Now it's your turn. Please come and share your experience with
I
us.
predicted that this is a King Akbar who ruled for India for 50 years. He's discussing some issues with his courtiers.
Great, that's great. Okay, so now take your seat, and now I give you the book, and yeah, the page is very nice. So you will have to read. Each of you, for example, I have divided you into two groups, and each group will read one page. One page is just like one chapter, right? And after that, you will have to match your prediction with the content of the lesson, right? So I give you, you read this page, right? Now you read this page. Did you finish?
Yes.
You read the other page, you read. And this will attract you toward itself. If there is any difficult word, you can ask me. Did you finish? You? Did you finish? Okay, now I give you another piece of paper. And now you have to write that what's the difference between your prediction and the exact content of the story, right? Once again, I distribute these papers, and once again, the same two groups will have to write. Tell us that what's the difference between their prediction and the story which they actually read. It means that now you read the story and you found the difference between your prediction and the actual content of the story. Did you find the difference?
Yes, sir.
Just describe.
My prediction didn't match the story, sir.
Your prediction didn't match the actual words of the story.
Yes, sir.
What was the difference?
Sir, my prediction was that there was a king and he was having a discussion with his courtiers, and his courtier was explaining him the thing what he asked. And the story is really about that there was a king who lost his way in the jungle, and there was a young man named Birbal who talked to the king in a respectfully moved manner, and later on became a wise minister.
That's great. That's great. It means that first you thought that the king is having a kind of discussion with his courtiers, with his minister.
Yes.
But when you read the story, you found that the king was on an adventure,
Yes.
right? And he lost his way. And then he didn't know how to come back to the palace.
Yes.
And then on the way, he met a young guy, right? His name was... That's great. That's great. Amazing. And now, this is his turn. What's your finding?
Was not matched, or also not matched with my prediction. I predicted the Akbar was discussing some issue with his courtiers, but when I read the lesson, I found that the Akbar was on an adventure and was hunting, and on the way to forget his ways, he met with the young guy. He meet with the Akbar with bold and confident manner. The Akbar was much impressed from the young guy and invited him to his palaces. And then he became the wise minister of Akbar, whose name was Babur.
Okay, thank you, thank you. You really did well. Now, at the end of the class, I would like to give you another piece of paper. And you have to predict the ending of the story. It means that how do you think the story might have ended? Did the person come to the palace? Did the person not come to the palace? What happened then? Just write about your prediction. Just write about your prediction, right? It means that how do you suggest an ending to this story? Write the ending of the story.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now it's your turn.
In present and made him minister.
That's great. That's great. I think you predicted exactly right that finally that young guy who met the king on the way, he came to the palace through different means, and then he managed to talk to the king, and he not only impressed the king there in a desert, he again impressed the king with his boldness, with his confidence, and the king not only offered him gifts, but he appointed him as one of his wise minister. Yes, that's really true. That's exactly what is in the story. And now, it's your one of you from this group should come to the will end. How do you think the story will end?
I think that the story he talked about Babur to the king of.
That's great. That's really wonderful. You also nailed it. Right. Okay. So you also did really well. Dear student, now as you know that we are about to formally end the class, right? So this is your homework. This is your assignment that you need to summarize the story in your own word. Draw a kind of mind map. Right? You should write about the presents, about the gifts, and many other things the king offered. Later we know that his name is Birbal, right? So this is the mind map. You should develop the mind map. You should develop this outline, and then I will provide my feedback to you. And this means the criteria, the standard through which we award you points, and then I will award you points, right? That's fine. So today we are formally finishing the class, and see you tomorrow. Next.